candidates. Now we will draw 5 questions from the fishbowl, and again, allow each candidate to answer. We will stay with the pattern that we have established thus far, and Mayor Burrows will answer first, then Tyson, and we will alternate from there.
Okay, we'll start with Bryan for this one. More than a few small businesses in our community keep running into roadblocks, whatever it's zoning issues or lack of affordable spaces or limited access to funding. As mayor, what specific steps will you take to help develop and support those small businesses here so they can grow and thrive instead of struggle and die?
Well, with the zoning issues, we have some variance on some of that stuff, depending on what it is. You know, we have ordinances in place, and those are laws. I'm not big on breaking our ordinances. As far as the financial side of it goes, there's really no programs like that in the city. We don't. That's not in our wheelhouse to do that. We can, you know, there are some incentivization from the state on different upstart businesses. I know there's a lot of that, particularly in agriculture. As far as the city, we really don't have that type of a resource to help them financially, but we do have the ability to help with zoning and that type of stuff if they're putting in a new business. Like I previously said, our gap policy, you know, our inland port has some incentives. That's the way we can help with new businesses.
Thank you, Bryan.
Yeah, so starting a business is hard. Being in business is hard, and especially if you've never done it before. One idea I have, if I'm elected, is to have the council appoint a volunteer economic development coordinator. You know, have the council agree on it, appoint this person by resolution. I actually have somebody in mind already, somebody that's been in business their whole life, built and sold several high-dollar businesses. Doesn't necessarily need income. That's why it'd be a volunteer position, but they've been there and they've done that. And how good would it be to have that resource at the city that, you know, somebody that wants to go into business, and this person is so giving, I mean, of their time, their talents, somebody to, you know, be a soundboard and, hey, I'm running into this roadblock, what do you suggest I do here? Hey, I you know, talked to the bank and they told me that I need to get this put together. What's the first steps in doing that? I'm really excited about the possibilities of doing that. This person will be in the room when the county's having their economic development meetings, when the R6 Council is having their economic development meetings with the central part of the state. Richfield City will have a seat at those tables so that we don't miss any opportunities for businesses bringing jobs for our children.
Okay, for this one, we're going to start with Tyson. What are ways you as mayor can improve the dialogue with members of the public and those who hold opposing views?
Okay, good question. You guys are not throwing softballs up here. No, that's okay. Improve the dialogue with the public. Yeah, I mean, it's important that all voices are heard, right? If I'm mayor, I'll be mayor to everybody, even those that don't agree with me. And I actually think that communication is like the most underutilized tool that we have in humanity. And I think that if we sit down and talk to somebody, especially face to face, we'll realize we actually have a lot in common. And so I think that, you know, communication's key. An idea I had to help communicate and keep people in the know and be transparent is to do a 10-minute podcast. after the city council meets, not a lot of people have 3 hours to carve out every other week to go and, or even if we were to live stream it, listen to a city council meeting. But I think that the citizens would really appreciate just a quick, less than 10-minute overview of what was decided, what was discussed, and it would just help educate the public on what their government is doing and keep their government accountable. So that's an idea I had to help with communication. Yeah, I think that's.
You're going to have to repeat that. I didn't hear you the first time.
That's okay. He's gonna read it for you.
Okay.
What are ways you as mayor can improve the dialogue with members of the public and those who hold opposing views?
Well, I do that a little bit with the newsletter that I put out in the monthly water bill, let people know what's going on in the community. Also, the Reaper has been gracious enough to allow us to put an article in every so often to address some of those things. Our city council meetings are held at the same time, same place, same back channel every month. People can come to those. They're welcome to come to those. They can come and sit in them. They can listen. I'll even open it up to allow someone to ask questions, which typically that's not a normal process in that unless it's a public hearing. We also keep minutes. People can pull those minutes up online on the webpage. We can also have recordings of them so that people can know what's going on. I feel like people have every available tool to them to do that. You talk about doing a podcast, and that's great, but that also becomes a public record that has to be stored, has to be kept, has to be filed, has to be available to the public going forward. So there's a lot of ways people can find out what's going on in our community. As far as opposing views, that's every 2 weeks we have opposing views. We have opposing views with some of our own committees, our planning and zoning committees, and our things of that nature, and they're an advisory committee to us, and they're very valuable, and they're made up of a group of people that are very intelligent and have a very good insight into that type of process that we're doing, but we don't always agree, but we do what we do and we move on.
Thanks, Bryan. All right, Bryan, you're up again. How do you view yourself as a leader, and how well do you work with others?
Well, I guess that depends on who you talk to. I view myself as a leader. I feel like I'm a very strong leader. I like to allow my people to do their job. I give them the tools necessary to do their job, get out of their way. To me, that's the best way to lead. That's the way I've always liked to have been led. I've always felt like, tell me what you need done, don't tell me how to do it. And I have conversations with my staff daily, a lot of times, and keep abreast of what's going on. A lot of times, my role as a mayor is to get in the middle and take the arrows, which that's okay, I can take them, and try to let, I'll take the arrows and I'll take the heat and not create the friction with employees and the public, or employees and employees. But yeah, I feel like if people come to work and do their job, and I'll get out of their way and let them do their job, and that's how I like to be. That's how I want to be led, is in my job, and I've had the opportunity to run a crew, and I've learned from some of the best to respect our employees and our workers, and I had an old fellow that I worked for a lot of years told me, if you get a team of horses that works for you, don't work them in the ground. And that's got a strong amount of wisdom to it. So that's how I view it.
Thank you, Ryan. Go ahead, Tyson.
In my life, when I think about the leaders I've been around, the best leaders are the ones that lead by example. They're not cracking a whip. They're not yelling at the top of their lungs at you. They're leading by example. And Michael Jordan said, he was a great leader that accomplished a lot. He said, I'll never ask my teammates to do something that I'm not doing myself. And that's another trait that I think that good leaders have. I worked for Dennis Jorgensen for a long time, and that's something that he got into my head, but not necessarily. It was more caught than taught, because Dennis is a guy that, he doesn't have to run a vacuum, but he does. You've probably seen him doing it just like I have many times. As far as working with others, that's what I do every day. If I can't work with others and make deals happen and come to some kind of an agreement where both sides win, I'm not making a living. And so I've had experience doing that, and I'll continue to do that as mayor.
What are your thoughts on the Miss Richfield program? What will you do to support this program? Go ahead, Tyson.
I actually have a lot of admiration for the Miss Richfield program. My daughter Maddox, who I mentioned in my intro, she does pageants, and I am in awe at her and the other participants when I'm watching them from down there, at the courage and just the gumption that it takes to get up here in front of all these people at, in her case, 13 years old, and show people your talents and show people your personality and have that shine through. It's such an invaluable skill to be taught young. So I absolutely support the Miss Richfield program and will continue to. If things go like they are, maybe my daughter will be a participant in it someday, and I'll love to see that happen.
Bryan?
Boy, I love the Miss Richfield pageant. It's been a big part of my life. I come from a family of boys, and I've raised a family of girls, and they're good ones. I've got 3 of my daughters were Miss Richfields. Well, I guess they are Miss Richfields. You never lose that. It's awesome. How I've seen my daughters grow, and the examples they've had. One of our former, well, there's a couple of directors out there. Connie Nilsson's out there. I hope I have not missed any of the others. There's a lot of people that make that program happen. I know my oldest daughter's been involved in it, but the skills that they use, that they learn, the interview skills, their confidence, and their ability to come out and get themselves out of their shells is like none other that I've ever seen. It is the most greatest thing we can do for our young women in this valley, is to encourage them to participate, encourage them to come out and share what they have. They don't need to be the best. They need to come out and share that and learn from it. They have people come in and teach them skills, accomplished ladies, accomplished women that come in and teach them interview skills. They teach them how to act like a lady. I credit a lot of my daughter's success with that. I have one that was very quiet, that's just completed her master's degree down in Dixie and is working at the Levitt Group, and it's been awesome. This place should be packed when they have when that program's on. So that's my opinion on Miss Richfield.
This this will be our last question for the evening. We'll start with Bryan. It says, being approachable is very important when it comes to learning the concerns of your citizens. Would people consider you both friendly and approachable?
Yeah, I feel like I'm friendly and approachable. I'm not the type that likes to sugarcoat things, and I like to put my head down and go to work, but I listen to people. I think I'm a good problem solver. I have the ability to work things out, and I've brought several different people together in our community that we were having problems, different issues with. I definitely think there is a knack to that. I think you need to be firm, but I also think you need to be fair. And I've always tried to do that. I've tried to instill that in my kids. You need to stand your ground, but you also need to get things done you say you're going to, and you need to represent everybody fair. I've seen people that'll be happy and tell you all this stuff that they're going to do for you and so forth and so on. And it reminds me of a statement that my grandpa used to say whenever we'd go fishing, and he'd say, be careful about shiny things because they always have a hook in them. So I think that's good wisdom to live by, but I think you need to be firm and direct and get the problem solved, not beat around the bush.
Yeah, I think that, you sign up for public office, you need to be available and approachable, have an open door policy. I've tried to do that. I've put my cell phone number out on social media. If you can't find it there, Google will give it to you. You just put my name in and you'll get my personal cell phone number, and I promise, if I'm available, I'll pick it up and we'll have a conversation. Throughout this campaign, I've actually had a few people call, and we've had good conversations. I actually really like talking to others and getting others' perspectives and finding out more information that I didn't have before, because to make a good informed decision, you've got to have all sides, right? And so absolutely, I am approachable, and I will continue to be approachable as your mayor. Is there a second part to that question?
Would other people consider you friendly or approachable?
I mean, I think so. I get that from my mom. Those that know my mom, she's back there smiling right now. You can't wipe that smile off her face. And if you see her and you don't even know her, just the smile on her face tells you that she's there to help. And I think those that know me would say, that I got that trait from her. And so, yeah.
Before we close for the evening, we have been asked to announce there's a event starting at 7 p.m., just 10 minutes from now at the Richfield City Park, to honor Charlie Kirk and his death. So you're welcome to get some hot dogs and head over to there.
Thank you. Hot dogs are being served in the lobby. Again, thank you to the Shirt Shop for sponsoring this evening's refreshments. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us this evening. And be sure to vote, please. Thank you for all for